So I'm Carl Watts. I'm with the Library of Congress. I work for the operations and maintenance team here in the storage group. I've been primarily working in the preservation space now for the past 30 plus years, and at the library for the past 15 of that. So jump quickly in. We're doing, like probably everybody else here, doing a 3-2-1 strategy. We have one primary data center that's pushing data to us, our secondary data location. And then we're also then pushing data out to AWS. We're then verifying what's getting put out into AWS and then placing it into Glacier. Our growth for the past 35 years. So we're now at roughly, as of June, we're just under, just over 31 petabytes of storage. Of that, that's 1.7 billion objects, are unique objects within ranging from everything from little XML files all the way to multi-terabyte video files that through the digital preservation program at the National Audiovisual Conservation Center. Our annual growth last year was 10%. We're waiting to see where we're at, but we're lower than that this year. It looks like we'll be closer to maybe 8%. We still have until December to finish this, so we should know by then, but we're only at 4% as of June. So our midpoint, we're looking at maybe 8% for the year. Our projected growth for the next 5 years gets us somewhere between 54 and 62 petabytes of storage and roughly 5 to 5.5 billion objects at the current pace. A lot of that is data that comes in for the U.S. Copyright. So that's a lot of small file articles and books, as well as what people have submitted into the library via the ECHO system or electronic copyright system. Our current architecture is for 2025. In 2024, we moved from VSM to ScoutAM in September. So we went from a single metadata server to the cluster in a 5-node cluster in September. We shrank from 22 unique file systems that handled all the different curatorial bodies within their data, and we shrunk that down to one file system to manage everything. We are also using legacy SL8500, which uses ACSLS, which is the communications between the system or the storage system and the robotics system. There was some growing pains there. Everything works great when we moved to the i6000, but ACSLS had a few problems and hiccups to begin with, but they were quickly fixed. And we were basically migrated over a 4 to 5 day period. We were up and running and receiving data again. In 2026, we'll be doing a full migration to get ourselves off of the T10KD tape that we're currently using in the SL8500s. We'll be migrating one location to a hybrid tape object store using Quantum and ScoutAM and on top of ActiveScale. The reason why we're using active scale was it allows us to do protected store at single site. So we don't have a dependence on any one site to maintain 100% availability. We're going to be also be adding about 2 petabytes of additional stores. So we'll be restoring every tape that's at our primary data center, validating that data, and then pushing it out to the object store. We're also using the Versity gateway for one of our projects. Another reason why we selected active scale is we needed something that looks like Glacier internally and doesn't have an intermediate step. But in the meantime, we're currently using the Versity S3 gateway on top of the POSIX ScoutAM file system. We're currently in a state of constant migration now here at the library. So currently we're currently 7 years into migrating all of our data out into AWS. We started out at 24 petabytes. We're now at just under 32. We started off with just under 1 billion files. We're now at 1.7 billion files, of which we have validated as of last week all but 0.5 petabyte of it now out in AWS. So out of the 1.7 billion files, we've completed roughly 80% validation. Our ScoutAM, we're maintaining all the patches. Again, we had some problems with ACSLS up front. Those have gone away pretty much. We had some other errors that were going on with the T10K drives, and those have also somewhat ceased. We do see problems every once in a while when we go in a high activity, but it is not a ScoutAM problem. It is a ACSLS issue that we're having with its communications. So as we get ready to go into our big data migration, we've broken down our steps of what we have to do. So we've gone through so far is gone through and did the build list. So using Versity, we go through and we audit every VSN that we have. It gives us a list of every file that's on that tape that's currently active. And then what we're planning to do is we have to do a pick of what we refer to as a high capacity tape, meaning it's not the matter of how many terabytes is on it, but the number of files that's on it. We have some tapes that have anywhere between 30 to 40,000, or excuse me, 30 to 40 million files. And we have some tapes that have got, a couple thousand to just under 1 million files. The number of file count matters, as most of you already know, but we did a test the other month on one that had 6.5 million files, and it took 22 days to restore the whole tape. So if we extrapolate that out to ones that are in the 40 to 45 million files, we're looking at almost 6 months of data migration off of one single tape. So what we're doing right now is we're building a pick list of high, mediums, and lows, and be able to push through, have X amount of drives for each one of those capacities. Once all that data has been staged, we'll be doing our verifications pre-flight. So we will be validating all the data again. We have started using or pulling our data out of Baggett. For those that aren't familiar with it, it's on GitHub, but Baggett basically provides a manifest file that has the associated hash values for all the files that are in the data directory or the essence directory that so we're now going through and adding all of those hash values to the user hash space within Versity. It's a laborious process, but it'll help us get through the verification process faster. We'll then mark, once we validated it, then we'll mark it for re-archive, and then it'll go in flight from the current system it's on to the new object store. We'll then have to do a release, then another re-archive of the file at its new location, and another post-verification. We're hoping that we see better than what we've seen on our transfers out to AWS. We have seen about a 0.1% out of that 1.7 billion files we had to resend due to network transmission issues. And that's it. Any questions?
Carl, we were curious, why did you go to only one file system?
Yeah,
You didn't want to maintain like 3 or 4?
got Matthew.
We shrank, well, the decision was made to shrink it down to the single because everything is in one preservation space. So we have looked at taking copyright data or copyrights data and giving its own location. Primarily because one, they're looking to become their own agency. So Library of Congress, what most people don't understand is the Library of Congress is not just Congress's library, but we're also the U.S. Copyright Department. So every digital book, magazine, whatever, audiobook, we get a copy of that into the preservation space.
I remember that from working in a library in my university library, and pretty much you have a copy of every item. So it's
Well, that's kind of a misnomer, but yes.
Is it?
Not every item, thank God. But yes.
Basically, it's every ISBN in.
There is an ISBN, but does not mean that we have a physical copy or a digital copy of an item.
But you have a record, and
we have a record of it. Yes.
Correct. Yeah. No, that's that was more than 20 years ago. I worked in my library, so I'm not a librarian, but no, that's the key. The scale that you have of items is immense. Yeah.
So in currently our largest collection is the National Audiovisual Conservation Center because it is audio and video content. Our second largest collection is our web archive, which now is at 6 petabytes.
So do you have a count of how many million files and directories that you store?
The object count is 1.7 something, or 1.78 billion as of last week.
Oof.
It grows by anywhere between 2 to 3 million.
Yeah.
Sometimes greater than that, depending upon the submissions. So on a daily basis, we're pushing out, some days we're pushing out 1 million objects. Some days we're only pushing out a few thousand objects out to AWS. And then we're validating every one of those after they've been pushed to AWS, because we have found transmission errors being as it gets sent to AWS.
Interesting. So, okay, we've got another question for you from Francis. So, yeah, let's open it up for Francis there, please, Adia.
Hello. Interesting talk. How often do you actually copy the data from media to media?
So we've been on T10KD tape now since 2000, I want to say 13.
Mm-hmm.
So it is now 2025. So it's definitely outlived its, we wanted to be off of it earlier, but we just haven't had the funding for it.
Okay.
We are seeing errors with T10KD tape. So we finally got authorized to start for the new system we're purchasing, which will go to LTO 10.
So do you have enough drive heads to read all those volumes back? How's your wear going? That's always my concern with my SL8500.
I have 56 drives. So we have enough. So right now that's on the LTO, or excuse me, that's on the T10K D tape. My LTO 9 fleet is only 7 on the SL8500s and 6. No, well, 6 and another 6 more that we're putting in place. So we'll have a total of 12 in the i6000s. Our plan is to basically take and put the data into both the i6000 and in as one copy, and in the new object hybrid as the other copy. They're both in the same data center. And then we're looking to get funding for a second system for our secondary facility. But if we don't get that money, we'll at least then pick up and move the LTO 9 library from primary site to secondary site so we can decommission the SL8500 there. So that's our fallback.
And you've got T1, T2 tape combo? Have you got T1 and T2 type tapes on the SL8500?
We just have Ds.
Oh yeah, you've just got DCD T2.
And some LTO and a few LTO 9s.
Okay. Cool. That's a big block to move.
So it's about in comparison to what you guys are doing on the DMF side, we're looking at about 4,800 tapes to migrate. So when you guys are talking to 6,000 or more, it's like, yeah, okay. You guys got me beat on capacity.
Beat on size, but I don't think on age yet. So well, maybe slight overlap with my JC tapes dating from 2011. So cool.
Our plan for finishing the migration is roughly 18 to 23 months.